It's time for you to repent. The plagues have come upon us, people. It's the end of times where the dead walk the earth. And it's said in the Bible, Revelations 9:16, and in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall free from them. Now it's come to our house, and your soul better be right with God, or you'll be found wanting. Thank you for tuning in to God's Hour. We pray for your safety. Thank you for tuning in.
With current events, people are afraid for their family. Here at Anderson Shelter Systems, we want your family to be safe. Unlike a simple tent that provides little protection from the elements or invasion, Anderson Shelter Systems have you covered. They keep you warm in the cold and cool in the heat and folds up for easy storage. Upgraded track systems are even available. Pick up your Anderson mobile shelter today. Don't be left out in the cold. Your family deserves it.
Feeling the stress of life? Are things not going your way? Being upset and worn down is part of life. That's why we offer Pick Me Up, a new all-natural supplement that will take you from dreary blues and put a pep in your step. No more boring meetings for you. Pick Me Up doesn't use caffeine to get you going. That just burn you out later. It uses all natural products, herbs and supplements that work with your body to keep those blahs away. Pick Me Up for when you're feeling down.
You're tuned in to 20MB13 Radio, where we give you news, reviews, and all the things happening in Orlando proper. Stay tuned for more great radio.
Welcome to the Orlando News. The pace infection is sweeping the East Coast, and many states have reported a state of emergency and activated National Guard support. Civil Defense reports that the situation is well in hand, but urge concerned residents in these areas to quarantine until the situation has resolved. Although reports from government officials are positive and say that the number of infected are low, CDC reports that infected individuals are both rising and spreading and ask everyone to be aware and get educated on the illness. Civil Defense is supplying pamphlets and other information on how to stay ahead of the infection. In other news, the first case of PACE has been reported in Florida, sending officials into a swirl of activity, promising that this illness will be contained here. That's the news from Orlando. Have a great day.
Welcome back to Real Talk with me, your host, Charles Aspen. But you can call me Chuck. Most of you call me whatever you like. I understand. This is a show where we hit it to you straight. And I'm going to start off with, well, it looks like what we knew was going to happen has happened. PACE, it was reported in a homeless shelter where the individual was listed as a known drug addict, and a senior living facility where the word on the street is that the lady in the second incident here had a weakened immune system, and when they somehow came into contact with the illness, it quickly overcame her. And that's real talk, folks, not holding back on you for that one. We knew, obviously, when it came into Georgia that we were probably going to be next on the list, but we had hoped that, this would already be taken down now. But anyway, the facility was cleared out for decontamination, but the word, if anyone else tested positive, there's no known other incidences of it there. It's been, 24 to 48 hours since this first cropped its head up in Pittsburgh, and then in Atlanta, and now it seems like it's all over the East Coast, and it even still no word how it spread either. And it's brought up some concerns for locals that say our elderly community is at a higher risk, and what we should take additional steps. If you're wondering, that's 21% of our community, but the real question is what steps should we take? Hey, it's not like the chicken pox where we just give the sickie and let them build up an immunity. We certainly can't move them out of the state, but there's no question these folks are at high risk. It brings up a big question. Is our state a powder keg? Well, I have on my guest Lance Knoll. He's our correspondent health professional here to discuss. Hello, Lance.
Hello, Chuck. Thanks for having me on the show.
You've been doing this health thing for what, about 10 years now? What do you think? Do you think we're at risk here?
I really hate to say it, but I think we'd be silly not to identify the population here that's most at risk of contracting virtually any illness. I mean, many elderly already suffer from anything from high blood pressure to dementia. I mean, the concern is that they could be confused for infected already.
And see, that's why we have you on the show, Lance, because for you, it's real talk. So it really puts us at an impasse. First, we want to help our elderly, but we got to be honest here. By protecting them, we're inadvertently protecting ourselves. So it's in our best interest to do both. I mean, what should we do?
Well, the easiest way is quarantine. Limited contact to elderly would be the best way. But let's be honest, I don't think that's going to happen. We're already seeing family members pull people out of these living conditions just because of the fear of infection. So the next best thing is to make testing readily available and act on anyone that's sick as soon as possible to keep them away from others. The truth is, once someone is infected with this, they're in danger regardless of their age.
True. You got me there, Lance. So if someone is infected, what's the procedure?
Well, I can't speak for the rest of us, as laws have been enacted to not kill anyone even if they are infected, but tests have shown that there is a little to no brain activity in someone who's been infected. So here we make them as comfortable as possible, but once brain damage is set in, they're becoming a danger to themselves and others, and we've been authorized to euthanize them.
Now, I have to say this. You said euthanize. So you mean they lay tied up in a bed and until whatever happens, this infection gets all in them, and then you put them out of their misery, or am I confusing what you're saying?
Not to get too gruesome for your listeners, but unfortunately can't wait. And there's something in the infection that prolongs their, well, if we can even call this life, meaning they won't die in 3 days. We have to put them down. Not only that, but they're considered infectious and dangerous and need to be dealt with as soon as possible.
I'm sorry, you did say put down?
Yeah, that's correct. The military did advanced testing on this, I believe, in Georgia. Once you are in the full throes of this illness, you can cut off food and water, and we don't know when you'll actually die. You could survive indefinitely. We haven't had the time to fully test it, but they say 20 days, a month, even a year is possible.
My God, man, that's insane. So you're saying not only are we surrounded by ticking time bombs, that there's no way to put out the fire once the barn is lit?
It's a little funny, but it's an excellent analogy. Yes, once the fire is lit, the barn, you put it, is not only going to burn for an extended period of time, but it's possible that anyone that gets near it is set on fire, as well as the ongoing consensus that you're either ingesting something that gets you infected, or you're being bitten by someone who is. The truth is, we really don't know how you're infected. One project in Boston is already arguing that it's possible that infection is somehow spontaneous, that just happens for no reason.
You don't think I need to hear that today? Yeah, I don't even know where to go from there. Well, Lance, is there anything else that we can do?
Yes, prayer would be my first action. I'm not very religious, but that would be my first option. And second would be don't get near anything that could kill you or anyone that's infected, and you should do okay. But that's really all we have right now, and even that could be wrong. If you are infected, the best way is to just dispatch someone, is to do any sort of brain injury or damage to the spine, and that's about it.
Civil Defense had said something similar yesterday about the head and spine and all this. I really wasn't paying attention. I feel like I need to work on, basically, to stop this, I need to work on my karate chop. I think that's what we're saying.
Hey, man, anything that works, just do it, right?
All right, Lance, you have a great one. That was Lance Knoll, our correspondent on all things scientific and or doctorly. He's been a doctor of physical something or other for a long time in his short life. So or should I say that way above my pay grade or my intelligence level. And you can't really argue with his logic, but what a bombshell he's putting out there. I mean, he probably can do the Vulcan neck punch and take care of somebody with the way he can think. But anyway, a lot of people were really concerned that if you got it, the only option was to off you. But wow, to put it like that it's hard to hear. I mean, it wasn't comforting for sure. I can see if family members fighting that wholesale. Nobody's going to want to shoot Uncle Joe. I can't even imagine killing a loved one like a mother or a father. I mean, how about somebody has had their wife or their kid, man? That's real, man. I can't even imagine them letting go of them once it happens. You're just kind of figuring out like, hey, you know, you can survive. It's okay. We'll get you there. But, I mean, that makes all this stuff happen in weird ways, you know. One thing that we were talking about earlier is that Civil Defense had already set up shelters in Atlanta, and the word is that they're also coming here. But before we get into the government reaction, I want to, what they're planning, obviously, here. I think we first need to go to a commercial. We're going to be right back. This is Charlie Aspen with Real Talk.
Zombie quarantine is the next big thing in gaming. Test people coming into your government shelter for the zombie virus. Requisite supplies for survivors and staff while protecting the walls against the horde of zombies coming in. Stock up on ammunition, helicopters, even tanks. But it all comes down to who you let in your shelter. Let in the wrong person, and you'll be joining the hordes of the undead. Zombie quarantine, out now.
Feeling the stress of life? Are things not going your way? Being upset and worn down is part of life. That's why we offer Pick Me Up, a new all-natural supplement that will take you from dreary blues and put a pep in your step. No more boring meetings for you. Pick Me Up doesn't use caffeine to get you going. That just burn you out later. It uses all natural products, herbs and supplements that work with your body to keep those blahs away. Pick Me Up for when you're feeling down.
You're tuned in to 20MB13 Radio, where we give you news, reviews, and all the things happening in Orlando proper. Stay tuned for more great radio.
Okay, we're back and discussing the pace infection that has now reared its ugly head in Florida with 2 reported cases. We've gone over some pretty horrifying stuff right now, and some of the things that we've said here has kind of shook me to my core. But I just want to remind everybody that it's just 2 reported cases right now. They say that there's been no spread with it, but there hasn't been any full release on exactly what happened or how everything went. We expect that in the future, obviously. But right now, I want to discuss real quick what the plans are for this area, and especially for government reaction and civil defense, which they supposedly, the governor was saying they already had a contingency set up for this. So right now, civil defense is setting up shelters for people to go get tested. We're hearing that there are going to be areas put into Orlando. These were not made to make people worry, but more to give them some place to go. So if you have a concern, and I think many will already, after hearing what they just heard, want to go to the shelter and get tested. These testings are free, so if you go there, you get tested. And again, they say there's no negative ramifications of anything that you're going to deal with, but they'll be able to advise you one way or the other. And we're expecting everything to be negative. So there's that. I think a lot of people that go to these end up going because of just basically fear. And it's the idea that it's, there's nothing to really be afraid of right now. But what they did say is not to go to the hospital. One of the biggest problems that they have in these other areas has been the responses to people that go to hospital, flood hospitals, obviously finding out if they're sick or anything else. And then what's happened is they actually had infected individuals that were being treated at the hospital or had responded to the hospital. And what ended up happening was these were, creating powder kegs that they had infected everybody. And that's probably not everybody, obviously, but you get my point. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic about that. Just the idea is you get the point of you put everybody in a big building like that, and you're going to end up with somebody who gets sick one way or the other. And an infection like this seems like it probably could spread pretty quick once it got a hold of things, and that's what we're seeing in some of the other areas. The other problem that is important here to understand is that hospitals don't have all the testing available to them. And I've heard that one of the pamphlets read that even any kind of treatments would be at a shelter. I haven't seen one of these pamphlets yet, so I'm not 100% on that. So whatever you guys do, don't quote me. But yeah, there's a possibility that there may be some sort of treatment at one of these shelter stations. So right now, the other thing that we heard from city officials that they had already trained police, fire, and emergency services to be prepared for this stuff already, with the assumption that it may actually come into the area. So this was a statewide thing, basically Florida proper, that went into that, how to deal with people that are infected. They say the goal is obviously to prevent any intervention by sick people into regular society. And if they can do that, then we'll have an ability to mitigate the problems that we have here. So just it's the idea of making sure that regular people don't get sick. So the point is not get infected in any way. And I think it's important that we remind ourselves that here, and this is something that's really been bugging me from the get-go of the show, it's our airports are still open. The roadways are still open. And people are traveling in and out of this area, especially here in Orlando. There's a ton of visitors that we see from around the world that are coming off planes in the hundreds of thousands probably right now that are dropping off to do some sort of visit in different areas here. We're kind of in the middle of a hub. And maybe that's a concern when we're talking about something that's in the future, especially with some sort of spread, to have that in mind. It's kind of wild that nothing has been slowed down or even questioned at this point. And I understand that it's, we only see a couple of little problems here, but the idea of maybe that needs to be part of a discussion or a plan. And I don't know. I don't understand why other people would, especially other countries or people from other countries, would want to come over and put themselves in the middle of something. But apparently we are still a vacation hub. Even with that said, we're hearing a lot of stark differences here than in other places that are saying. So I think we have a statement here from the chief of police, and I think we need to run into that real quick and hear what he has to say.
I wanted to have a quick press conference and inform everyone that yes, there was 2 infected individuals confirmed earlier today, but they were contained and did not come in contact with anyone else. It is clear that no infection was spread, and these individuals were contained. Still, that hasn't stopped us from taking any additional steps we are able to mitigate danger to the public. To that end, we did a great deal of research on this infection and made it clear that this is a fatal illness. That individuals who are acting, eradicate, attacking others, or even frozen in place have lost full faculty, similar to a person that has immense brain injury. They are no longer themselves, and we can no longer consider them a person in the traditional sense. They are a danger to the public, and although there are legal questions about that which we will deal with down the road, it is fully within your rights to defend yourself from any attacker. To test if a person is infected, I've been told, is very easy, and if a person is infected, we see them as dangerous weapon and a threat to our communities. To that end, I will be authorizing valid candidates to help us continue our research and add to our manpower so that we can verify that there is no further threat at this time. All inquiries should be made through our office.
So there you have it. You can defend yourself against any infected individual, which is good news in my book. But it doesn't really show me how that we're taking some of the what I would consider necessary options to slow any sort of spread that we have here, if there is one. I just tend to believe, especially with the infection so deep in Florida, that if they did get this from some other area, that the potential for others to be infected is there. So I think the real question is here, when can we get crazy about this? When do we say is enough and look into options like lockdowns, quarantines, They say they're getting ahead of it in other states, but it really makes you wonder with how this is spreading, if it's just kind of passing the buck, if you will. But we're gonna get back to that in a second. We're gonna jump right back into a break and see if I can get somebody else on here to talk to you about it. We'll be right back.
Here at Red Blooded Burger, we cook the best meat for your hunger. One bite and you're hooked. If you have the appetite, consider our half-pound heart attack burger meal with steak fries. Or if birds of a feather are your thing, try out the chicken plucker burger made with all real prime chicken and our special sauce. We even have the fries on the side if you brought your best gal along. Red Blooded Burger, even you might be on the menu.
It used to be difficult just getting out of bed. I would cry at every event, no matter how sad they were. Even things I once loved would drag me down. The doctors wanted to put me on heavy drugs, but they made me even worse. I didn't know what to do. That is, until I found Pick Me Up, an all-natural supplement that unlocked the energy in my body, and I realized I wasn't depressed. I was just dead tired. Thanks to Pick Me Up, I can smile through those boring accounting meetings, and driving little Johnny to his Little League game is a joy once again. It was the end of me being a zombie all the time. So don't get bogged down with medication that makes things worse. Pick Me Up for when you're feeling down.
Tune in this Friday for all the great shows. Starting at 9 p.m. ET, you can join Maud and Jones where they talk about the best recipes in the South, deep frying their way to bliss, or the Horsepower Show where Mikey Two Wrenches discusses how to turn your car into an off-road war machine, and finally God's Hour where the Reverend can help get you into the pearly gates. All that and more on 20MB13 Radio. Come on in and sit a spell.
You're back on Real Talk with Charles Aspen, and I'm back, and we have some of what I'm going to call very bad news. I don't have the full details of this yet, but we need to get this out, and we have a reporter on scene right now, and I'm going to let his report speak for itself.
Hey everybody, this is Stan Gray here on Route 4 in Orlando at the scene of a crash today that effectively took the life of at least 4 individuals. It appears that a delivery van of some sort was hit by another small sedan and both careened into the median, where the van burst into flames and the sedan flipped multiple times, according to eyewitnesses. When emergency services arrived, they found 2 individuals walking the highway that they began to check, and these individuals attacked them, showing clear signs of infection, injuring one of the responders. What we found out that I don't even think emergency service noticed yet was that these people were from the sedan. Upon closer inspection, their injuries were, for lack of a better word, intense. The female was missing her arm, large chunks of skin, and the male showed injuries that were impossible to survive. Yet he was walking around as if to reach for anyone that he could see, and was trying to attack anyone that came near. What was a simple crash has become a harrowing scene here on Route 4 with little or no explanation. What is clear is that this infection is more widespread than we first surmised. Back to you.
That was a report from Stan Gray on Route 4 in Orlando. And from what I can... Sorry, folks. I'm having a tough time right now. Normally, I'm upbeat. Some would call it even snarky. But this time, I'm actually worried. Usually, these events are no big deal. The plagues of the 21st century, even the 20th century, were a joke in comparison. But this, it seems really serious to me, and it looks like it's spreading with little or no reason. It's just not happening. If I'm going to relay my thoughts, it's to just drop the mic and run for the door, or just run anywhere to get away from this. Maybe, I don't know, get ready for a fight. I feel out of control even. And if you've worked in the news for any length of time like I have, the worst part in any event, I think, is the wait. The moment that you know the news is going to be coming and you know it's going to be bad, but there's really nothing you can do about it. maybe we hold on to some shred of hope that things won't be as we think. But we know otherwise. Even if we know the 100% truth, we still just cling on to that, any kind of shred we can see, even if it's not even real, if it's imaginary. We know what's about to happen. We've seen it so many other places. It's like watching a freight train bear down on us, and we're just waiting to hear the squeal of the brakes, but nothing comes. The train, like time, keeps on marching. And unfortunately, the radio doesn't stop either. So we're supposed to be talking about options here, but I want to change gears a little bit, and we do have a survivalist on the phone, so let's just take him right now, and let's just talk about what we're hearing. Oliver Stanzi, is it?
Yeah, that's right. Survivalist extraordinaire.
Well, Ollie, can I call you Ollie?
Absolutely, mate.
Ollie, it looks like our situation has been upgraded from not so serious to very serious, and my question for you is, what do you think should be done?
Well, obviously right now I think that quarantine should already be starting. This thing is way more serious than elected officials are taking it. And if it weren't for those tourist trade coming through, they probably would. Seems like to make me like that, downplaying the whole thing.
So you're saying they should already be kicking in, locking everyone down, and just bringing in the troops?
Yeah, well, they're bringing in the troops, but I think this is the point when we realize everyone's potentially infected individual, a danger to society as a whole. Just letting people walk around is asking for it.
That still seems a little harsh to me. I mean, we really don't know how to contract this illness. It's not clear how we avoid it, other than, as many are saying, you just don't get near them.
What are you talking about? We know what causes this.
What do you mean we know? We haven't heard anything about a cause.
Yeah, mate, we know. We've known for a while.
Okay, fine. Indulge me. What causes it?
Death causes it.
That doesn't make sense. What do you mean death causes it?
It's simple, my friend. When you die, you come back as one of those things. What our enlightened scientists are calling the infected.
You do realize how crazy that sounds.
You stick with me here. People getting bit, they die, and they become one of those things. People die, they become one of those things. That's why it's happening randomly. Somebody dies, they don't need to get bitten. That's what's changed. If it were just infected people biting each other, we'd easily stay ahead of it. But once the old chicken and the egg kicked in, it's gotten out of control. The truth is, the death is coming first.
So you're saying these people are dying, coming back, the being bent part's just, I don't know, it speeds up the process?
Now you're getting it. It doesn't matter how you kick it off, friend. But once you're on the old boat and the river Styx, what's here changes and become, well, whatever evolution is intended for us.
That doesn't even sound like logic. How the hell do you come back from the dead?
Does it really matter, mate? But tomorrow you look outside your window and you're gonna see that walking around. If you aren't taking steps now, they'll be crawling up your pants leg. If I were you, I'd start collecting water now because we're in this for the long haul.
Okay, that's enough of that. I need to fire my talent guy. Can you even imagine the concept of a Lazarus infection? What a crock of crap. What's that? Are you serious? We have more reports coming in of infected, potentially 5 more sightings in the city outskirts. And this, before we add any of that, I should have said this could just be fear-mongering. It's happened before, but I think we still have to take them seriously. I've been thinking about what our last guest said there, and it does make me wonder one thing. It does make sense in one thing, like that car crash. Those people from the accident, we never know if they were infected and caused the crash, or did the crash happen and they were infected. Were they already infected? What's that? No, I don't think the people were dead at all. What do you mean? Yeah, I've seen the injuries, and the truth is when your brain is fried like an egg from this illness, it's not shocking that you could withstand terrible injuries as you guys are describing them. Like, I doubt you could feel anything. I mean, let's be honest. If you get this, you're dead anyway, right? And that's the truth of it. And they're treating them like deadly wild animals, so it doesn't really matter how we see it eventually anyway, right? The results are the same. You think I'm in denial? Okay. Well, I hope you'll excuse me for not dubbing it the Lazarus infection. There's nothing I've ever seen that could show me that what we're dealing with is anything but I don't know, some sort of brain rot. Like, you've seen those crazy videos. It's like a parasite that's infecting your brain or piggybacking your system and motivating you to do stupid stuff that spreads it. Like a worm with a pulsating ear, like a stalk growing out the back of an ant. We've all seen those viral videos. They're made to freak you out, to go viral, but we know it's some obscure thing that has never affected humans and probably never will. It's real, but we'll never see it. I've never seen it. Have you seen it? So we're supposed to say that we're dealing with something out of some strange horror movie or some stupid video that, somebody watched down the street. That's what it sounds like to me. And I think that's the problem. It's easy to say it's surreal, and we faced stuff like this in the past. Pearl Harbor, 9/11. Yeah, these things are wake-up calls, but it's not anything we don't always overcome. And then the worst part about it is we completely forget about it. That's really the sad part. We're going to go through this just like anything else. It's going to be, maybe 2 to 3 weeks of something. There's going to be a lot of bad politics in the back end of it. There's going to be stuff that does bad things to other people or, takes people's rights away and that kind of stuff. But that's like the worst thing that's going to happen is the most part is, and yeah, the other than the loss of life, obviously, like there are people that are already dying from this, and that's the sad part, because the question will be, did we learn from something in the past, or did we just somebody let this happen? And you know what? It wouldn't shock me if this isn't something that some scientist has known about for a long time, and either they swept it under the table because it just didn't seem, like I said, the ant viral picture that they just, hey, it's just a viral video, we just pay attention to it and run over it, or in the long run just never did anything. Like they just knew about it and maybe did a little bit of work, and that was it. They didn't want it to become to the forefront. So, and I'm going to say this too, as humans, we are very arrogant. So I don't want to be caught in that thinking of this can't happen to us thing either, because we think we're the superior creature on the earth. I do think we're in the middle of a wake-up call right now, just like those other incidences. We thought, that can't happen to us, and now this stuff is happening, and it is what it is. But one that, some people are saying this is long overdue. The dinosaurs, now us, and then what comes after. We don't know. It's all science, or after all, not that I understand any of it, but here we are, a species that forgot how to arm itself for protection after we wiped out the woolly mammoth. Now we're wholly unprepared for this predator. We've become docile, fat, sitting in front of TV sets and radios. Hell, I doubt probably 2 to 5% of us can actually grow any kind of food or know how to even treat water in the wild. And we don't. We're not even anything like ourselves, or what made us this apex predator. And maybe that's the irony of it. We're wholly unprepared for the predator that is ourselves. The biggest enemy we face is constantly who we are. And now ourselves has gotten tired of it and come to, some people say, devouring us. Maybe that's because we failed to learn from the Romans when it happened to them. Or maybe, the hundreds of millions of civilizations that happened before that. And it sounds stupid, I know, but it's philosophical. I mean, hell, even poetic. So, you want me to do a sponsor read? Are you serious? Fine. Radio shows must go on, I guess. Protect your loved ones with Parabellum Living Center. When your loved ones reach that ripe age, you need a group that can help them make the most of their twilight years. Parabellum Living Center is there for you. For a free tour, call Parabellum Living Center. Make twilight life worth living. You happy? Yeah. What? Yeah, that makes me think. Can you pull this up? How many people die in Florida per day? Yeah, you think you can get that? All right, so you're saying 300 people a day. So let's say that survival guy was right. We have 300 people a day, so like 100,000 a year, which I can't math, so it is what it is. But if the system breaks down, obviously anybody with a weakened immune system. Hold on. Bobby, look up the report we saw earlier today. That lady that was infected. Yeah, what did that report say? Weakened immune system. Is it really possible that we already have this and something is triggering it? Maybe he was kind of on to something. Maybe whatever it is, we've already consumed it, breathed it in. We're just happening to be at the same time when something happens that we trigger it. Yeah, like death, he says. That's funny. You smoking the same pipe he was? Can we get serious here? Yeah, what did the report in Pittsburgh and Atlanta say? It was drug addicts and homeless, and even, I think today, yeah, the first one we reported was a drug addict. Nobody has reported elderly, maybe because they just don't have the amount of elderly we have. What? Okay, so you're saying that homeless and drug addicts, because they die often. So look up homeless deaths. That should be pretty high, right? Yeah, so about 40 to 100 a day. 120, okay. So think of that. Is that what we're tracking for numbers for up there? Let me see. So they're saying 200 infected in 2 days. I know it sounds a little crazy, but it kind of lines up, doesn't it? I think of that as a common cold, it would have spread much faster, right? I mean, if it's something that's there, if you had the cold, you would be spreading it left and right, but this isn't really happening. It's possible we're onto something, but I don't think per se I don't want to say it's death. How's that? I think it's more that, like we're saying, it's a weakened immune system. People get sick. They trigger it maybe randomly. Maybe it's people who are going out and it's like a kickstart to the system. Maybe they were already on their way out. Your body gets weak and this thing kind of just takes over. Why can't I consider what? Yes, I can consider death. Yeah, sure. I can consider anything. I just would like to leave people coming back from the dead as, say, the last line in the chain of thinking. What's that? You got to be kidding me. All right, well, folks, as if we were reading someone's mind, a senior living center now reports near Route 4. And there's a bunch in there, isn't there? Yeah, the report reads, I'm going to sum this up. That one of the elderly women was found devouring a staff member and 2 other attendees. 2 members of staff were rushed to the hospital after being bitten by her. The report claims that they're linking this to the pace infection. So I think our initial start of this all came down to somebody who had it and that it was actually contained. And I'm going to be under the impression right now that there's a possibility that the containment that we're discussing here is not as contained as we think it is. And that things are about to fall apart very quickly here. Especially since we have and even if we take the equation of death out of it, that there are a lot of people here that are there are a lot of people here with the weakened immune systems, I could say, or elderly or whatever. I don't know how many homeless or drug addicts or any of that kind of stuff that we have, but I'm guessing that being a major city, I would say that we have both. But if Ollie is to be believed, the survivalist that we had on earlier, then we are about to fall into something that we may not be able to get ahead of. And if that's so, then I think we need to be prepared for it. It's amazing how fast things fall apart. I don't know about you guys, but I'm calling this a day, and I'm heading out to go home. I'm going to go home, and I'm going to hug my wife and my daughter, and I'm going to figure out what the hell we are going to do. I hope you guys do the same. If you don't hear me on the air again, you know what happened. I want to wish you all the best. Oh, yeah, I'm signing off right now. I could care less what you guys do with the rest of the time. Yeah, whatever you think is right. I am out. So thank you guys for tuning in for the time that we had the show. Hopefully there will be more shows. If not, this is Chuck from Real Talk. You guys have a great one.
Voice of confusion, thoughts intruding, chaos reunion. I am forsaken, I am forsaken. Listen to the rhythm. I am forsaken. Master of delusion, voice of confusion, thoughts intruding, chaos reunion. Forsaken, I am forsaken. Listen to the rhythm. I am forsaken. And the voice inside your head, I am the herald of the dead. Living chaos, my method. On the ashes, I am fed. Turning on your sorrow, it will lead you to your brain. Stay on this path and it will drive you out insane. Join me. Join me. Forsaken, I am forsaken. Listen to the rhythm. I am forsaken.
This is an emergency broadcast. Civil Defense has enacted a shelter-in-place order through the office of the governor. All citizens should remain in their homes until further notice. If you are not in your residence, seek shelter immediately. Avoid contact with anyone that appears ill or fails to respond to commands. If you are unable to seek shelter, civil defense shelters have been made available throughout the city to house anyone. If you have come in contact with someone who is sick, report to these shelters immediately. Again, this is a shelter-in-place order. Further instructions will be provided soon through our emergency contact system.